We are here less than 48 hours away from the fight. Finally, I have to admit that I'm a little bit tired of talking about the fight, and I want them to get into the ring. It's been months. It's me here with Big J, and what you're seeing on the screen right there, it says we are 1 day, 20 hours, and 17 minutes away from Jeff Horn, former WBO 147-pound champion, versus Tim Tszyu, up-and-coming contender. The pay-per-view is going to be over in Australia on Foxtel for $59.95, and here in the States at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Because of the time difference, it's going to be 5 a.m. on ESPN+. I'm going to be here, of course, covering it. I got my colleague on the phone right here from Australia, Big J. How do you feel? Honestly, as I'm saying here, I'm just glad that, like the fight's here finally. We just got, less than 2 days away, and I just want it to happen. So what's your thoughts right now? We have to weigh in, playing. We have a lot to go over the next 15 minutes. So first and foremost, let's start with the logistics. Listening to your Ben Damon interview, that for those who are watching, you can listen to that. Ben Damon is the lead Fox Sports commentator for boxing, correct? Him and Barry Michael and Main Event and Fox Sports.
Main Event is a subdivision of Foxtel. So, Ben Damon and Barry Michael have been long-time commentators. I think Ben Damon's been around since the first Garth Wood fight was his first event. Barry Michael's been around, I think, since Main Event's inception. He's been around for as long as I can remember. They're probably the go-to guys. I think, I can't remember his name, but there's also long-standing former IBO cruiserweight champion, I think Tony Coffey, I think is his name. He'll also be in commentary. Jeff Fennick's going to be in commentary. Eddie McGuire's going to be there. So they're going to have a pretty fair panel on this fight. It's Australia's biggest fight, and we've been waiting, 9 months for this to happen. It should have happened in April, but thanks to COVID, it's been pushed back almost just a little over 4 months. So I'm getting sick of talking about it because I just want the fight to happen. So
yeah,
we're running out of things to talk about.
So it's going to be 16,000 in, and it could be possibly 16,000 plus. But according to the weigh-in, there's still tickets on sale. So how sure are you or confident that it will be sold out by tomorrow night or Wednesday night?
I'm confident. Well, yesterday at the weigh-in, Matty Rose said that there were about 600 tickets left. So that's 15,500 people there. So I'm confident they'll get 16,000, no problem. I mean, they'll be. You got to remember, you got to take into account that there'll probably be the radio stations up there giving away free tickets. So they'll pack it out. It's 16,000 people. I mean, that's a Cowboys game on a bad day. So 16,000 people for a fight of this caliber, no problem at all. If they haven't already sold it out, they will by the end of the day.
So this is the first major sporting event and definitely boxing event to host a crowd, and a significant crowd, in a brand new stadium that seats. So with floor seats, according to Ben Damon from Fox Sports, Townsville Stadium, which was opened in November 2019, correct?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I think it was more like, I think they finished it just before the Elton John concert in February of this year. So it was more like February of 2020 that they actually finished it.
Okay, so it's
around then.
So with floor seats, it seats 32,000. So half capacity is going to be 16,000 plus. That's a very
with floor seats, I think the actual stadium's only 25,000. So I think, because we've been saying that the whole time, I think it only seats 25,000. They can get more on the actual football ground there. So I think that's the way it is. Yeah. So yeah. I think the actual seated arena is only 25,000. Then I can fit another 7 on the football field. So
let's go ahead.
I think that's how it works.
Let's go ahead and get into our our thoughts on the fight, because right now, we've learned a lot about Tim Tszyu. Especially me and myself having watching some of his up and coming fights. Learned about his knockdown against Wade Ryan. Learned more about his team. Learn more about him, what has been presented to us of him outside of the ring. And basically, it's being said that he's is Tim Tszyu considered the favorite? Unjustly, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, according to the betting markets, he's heavy favourite. I think he's paying like $1.40 something, where Jeff is like $2.40. So there's a big difference in the betting. And I've said from day one, I can't see the justification for that. I mean, they're saying the betting things are saying is Tim's going to knock Jeff out. BS. Tim hasn't knocked anyone out since Denton. Let me bring up his name here. Denton Vessel, who was a blown up, washed up welterweight who hasn't had a decent victory in. Let me have a look here. The last 4 victories that he got against Tim Tszyu were guys that had terrible records. 2-11, 5-10, 8-21. So Tim Tszyu's never knocked anyone out of any significance. He didn't knock out Joel Camilleri. He didn't knock out Dwight Ritchie. He stopped Jack Brubaker, but Jack Brubaker was a blown-up welterweight. So, yeah, I mean, they're saying he's going to knock out Jeff Horn, the most battle-hardened boxer in Australia. Turn it up. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they think that he thinks he's going to knock him out. If he does, I'll be impressed. But I don't think he's got the power to knock Jeff out. I don't think he's got the power to keep him off him. He's got the speed and the skills to outbox him, sure. But this fight's going to be like Andrew Maloney versus Joshua Franco. Maloney had the skills to beat Franco. He didn't have the power though. And I think this fight's going to be exactly the same.
Basically, what do we know about Tim Tszyu, or that we've seen, that he'll be able to keep Jeff Horn off of him? Jeff Horn is going to be right there in his face all night.
Yeah, he's got the volume of punches, but does he have the power of punches?
And the movement,
like he did in Zarafa.
To box.
Exactly. The awkward movement. Yeah. The awkward movement, the style, the fact that Jeff will take 10 punches before he lands his one, and that one will knock your head off. Look what he did to Zarafa in their second fight. So, I mean, he knocked out Mundine in 96 seconds. He gave Manny a good hiding. So, to say, I'm not worried about the betting markets because, when you listen to the experts, the Jeff Fenix, he's changed his mind. Initially, he was going for Tim. Now he's going for Jeff, and everyone else, they say it's a very, very close fight or a narrow favourite either way. I haven't heard anyone say definitively, this guy's going to knock him out. So, I'm not paying attention to the betting market. Big deal.
Well, all right. Well, let me. I'm going to let it play in the background. Tim Tszyu and Jeff Horn getting on the scales.
Australasian titles. Tim Tszyu. We are 10 3-minute rounds. $69.1 kilos, no issue on the scales. We now invite to the scales the former world champ and the king of Suncorp, Jeff Horn.
It's coming out second.
Yeah.
So finally they maybe figured out who's coming out second, because normally
anyone seen Jeff?
Don't they figure that out before the weigh-in?
Yeah.
Wake up, Jeff.
That's a Wiggles reference for anyone that doesn't know.
Jeff Horn was comfortable at weight a short time ago. He is in the sauna. Obviously not that comfortable at weight.
So what do you think? You think this was a bit of theatrics, them showing, Glenn Rustin acting like they didn't know?
Well, we do have a moment.
They knew exactly where he was. They were just dragging it out. So, with all the, let him drag it out. So, they knew exactly where he was.
I do have to bring something up, though, that as we talked about before, I didn't like the way, Tim's talking.
Make it personal tomorrow night, or are you able to keep personal and professional apart?
This is a sport. There's nothing personal in it. we're both athletes and we compete for victory. We've got nothing against each other. Again, this is a competition, nothing else.
You're only a young man in this sport, and once again, you've held yourself impeccably. Congratulations. We wish you all the best tomorrow night, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so while we're waiting for Jeff to come out, I was saying, when you talked to Jeff earlier in the week, and congratulations for that, for talking to Jeff Horn, that's crazy. But also, I don't like the way he sounded during the interview, and I don't like the way he sounded. Like, he just doesn't seem like himself. I don't know.
And gentlemen, it is Jeff Horn.
He's about to get on the scale now.
Here comes. Yeah, you gotta get on the scale.
To the scales after a little stint in the sauna. Seems to be a bit of interest here. $69.6 kilos. 69.6 kilos. So we are go in our main event tomorrow night. Jeff Horn and Tim Tszyu. Skull away, my friend. You deserve it. Before we bring Tim in, a little stint in the sauna. Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. It's probably the easiest I've ever made it, actually. So I'm feeling nice and comfortable.
If you had to rate your last 4 weeks now in terms of preparation, how do you rate it?
Perfect.
We love to hear that. We wish you safety and success.
Thank you. Thanks, Andy.
Okay, we're going to ask Tim and Jeff to move down in front of the scales for the final time before they meet centre ring tomorrow night here in Queensland.
Like I said, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I just didn't like the way he sounded. But either way, once he rehydrates, get something to eat and get in there, I just don't think that Tim Tszyu has anything for him.
Nah, definitely. I mean, he weighed in at 153, 153, just a little under 153 and a half. He'll be close to 170 by the time he gets in the ring.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I just don't. I mean, based on everything. I mean, looking. Facts don't care about your feelings, and the fact is that Jeff is the more superior boxer, has beaten the battle, has beaten the harder competition, has been in wars, and Tim is not at that level yet. I mean, they said Matt Damon, Matty Rose said yesterday at the press conference that Tim Tszyu is a boot camp soldier. Beware of the boot camp soldier. I've been a boot camp soldier. All right? I can tell you, a boot camp soldier knows absolutely nothing about being a real soldier. So that is a terrible analogy to say because, yeah, you know the basics, but you know nothing about being the real deal. So, just to say that he is a boot camp soldier, that beware of the boot camp soldier is like, yeah, for someone who's actually been there and done it, that's a terrible, terrible analogy. But, is Tim ready for this? He's got to prove it in the ring. I mean, at the end of the day, he's got to prove it in the ring. If he wins, he goes on to bigger and better things. If he loses... Actually, we'll have to talk about that. What's the options for the winner and what's the options for the loser?
Yeah. I was about to say that, but to finish this thought, I think that Tim Tszyu is better fundamentally sound, meaning that I think that he has the potential, if not now, that he's the better boxer, but not the better fighter than Jeff Horn, in my opinion. But
I have to agree with that. I think
more technically, fundamentally.
Absolutely. He's technically more rounded, he picks his punches well, he's very composed, but he's never been dragged into the trenches and just taken into a brawl.
Yeah, and that's where I think that Jeff Horn is, especially with his experience and his will, he's the better fighter. So we're gonna see which one prevails on Wednesday, but for what I think, in my personal opinion, for what I think, it's like this. From a political landscape in boxing, a lot of eyes are going to be on this fight. Even if it's not at 5 a.m. Eastern, it's going to be a lot of replay for this fight because they're going to want to know, well, let's see what Jeff Horn is doing. If he wins, Top Rank are going to try to find a fight for him, likely, maybe pick up another option on him. You know, if Tim Tszyu wins, they'll likely do the same thing. If not, then you have Matchroom, PBC, and also, you know, Tim Tszyu is ranked very high by the IBF. You know, in 1 or 2 fights, the winner of this will be in position for a title shot at 154 pounds, depending. But when it comes to the loser, if Jeff Horn loses, well, likely he may contemplate retirement. You know, it seems as though to me that he's been somewhat, you know, contemplating it over the last couple of years or so. You know, especially with the wife, and, you know, didn't he have another baby about less than 2 years ago? I don't remember.
Yeah, he's got two little girls at the moment, so almost 3-year-olds and like an 18-month-old or something like that.
Yeah, so I wonder, you know, like taking a loss to a fighter like Tim Tszyu, who is a prospect still right there on that fringe contender, I wonder how that would affect him mentally and, you know, and skill-wise, if he would think he would be able to compete, you know, past that, because as we talked about earlier, the loser of this fight is pretty much going to likely be stuck on domestic level. Maybe Jeff Horner will be able to get off, you know, and go over somewhere to be like a B-side to somebody. But if Tim Tszyu loses, then he's going to be stuck. You know, he's going to have to fight, like we talked about earlier, you know, a Mick Zarafa or Dennis Hogan just to be able to get better fights outside of Australia. But what are your thoughts, you know, on what's next for either fighter?
The one thing I want to bring up is that Tim Tszyu's been saying that he's cleared out his backyard in Australia. Well, that's factually untrue because he hasn't fought Mick Zarafa, nor has he fought Dennis Hogan. And the point is that out of all 4 of them, Dennis Hogan is the only world title contender and should have been world champion at 154. Yeah. So Jeff's never fought at 154. Let's remember that's a fact. He's never fought at 154. He fought Mundine at 157 with an additional weigh-in at 75 kilo.
Yeah. That's 160 basically.
Big one?
Yeah, that's 160. Yeah, he's never officially fought at 150.
Yeah, 160, yeah. Mick Zarafa dabbles between super welterweight and middleweight, but the only real established fighter at 154 in this country is Dennis Hogan. Mm-hmm. And neither of those guys, none of them have fought him. So, you know, to say you've cleaned out your own backyard is completely and factually untrue because you haven't. You haven't fought Mick Zarafa, you haven't fought Dennis Hogan, who, in my personal opinion, I don't think Tim can get past either of those guys. So if Tim loses to this and he fights Mick and loses again, he could be done. He could never leave Australia. But it's a matter of, you know, what happens tomorrow night. The winner will obviously go on and be in line for the winner of Rosario Charlie. But you got to remember, there's a lot of guys ahead of Jeff and Tim. The winner of this fight, there's Jared Hurd, there's John. There's a couple of other ranked guys. You know, there's a good at least 10 guys way ahead of the winner of Tim Tszyu for a title shot.
But I'm saying, you know, Tim Tszyu is ranked right now number 6 by the IBF. You know, he could, depending especially if he were to win, knowing the IBF, they don't mess around with their mandatories. He would get a shot within the next couple of years.
Yeah, but not now.
No. But basically, this fight is very valuable because it will eventually lead to a title shot for the winner.
Yeah, but they've got to keep winning. They're not going to get one.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's true.
Anyone thinks, oh yeah, the winner of this is going to get a world title fight, you live in a fantasy world. There are 6-7 legit guys, ex-champions, high-ranked contenders that are well ahead of the winner of this fight. So
you got guys like Erickson Lubin, you know, Julian Williams has a rematch clause out there. You know, you got guys like Tony Harrison. I covered, you know, Sergio Garcia last week. You got Brian Castano, Liam Smith.
And let's not forget that, is there a rematch clause set up for Charlo Rosario? Is there a rematch clause for that fight?
It likely will be, but it's hard to say because I don't know. It's hard to say, but it likely is. I'm pretty sure it is.
And if that happens, there's another 12 months they're going to have to wait.
Yeah. So, but one thing about the IBF is they may have to drop one of those. They may have to drop the IBF title. The IBF could become free. You know, in that case.
Well, that'll make things interesting. That'll make things very
That's what I'm saying, you know, because right now the number one contender is a guy by the name of Bakhram Murtazaliev. He could be ordered you know, he's the next mandatory. So basically, they can order somebody like Jewett Swift Hurd versus James Metcalf, Sam Eggington, and you got Tim Tszyu. So if those two guys turn it down, like a Metcalf or Eggington or even a Hurd because of weight issues, so basically anything can happen. You know, so it's a very valuable spot to be in, because if you keep going that route, another 1-2 wins depending, you know, you could, you know, have a title shot. And then,
absolutely.
Jeff Horn is ranked number 5 by the WBO.
He is.
You know, and Top Rank has a very close relationship with the WBO. So, you know, that's actually, you know, where I'm at with it. But, you know, some quick thoughts on the undercard real quick, since we haven't talked about it. You know, and I'm gonna let you do that part, because frankly, it's just that I can't wait for them to get in the ring, like for real.
Yeah, so with the undercard, let's go from the start. Joel Camilleri, no issues. I think he weighed in at 71.6 or something. He's a super welterweight going up to middleweight. Adam Copeland weighed 72.6, so 100 grams over. There was a bit of a protest. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen there, whether they're going to make him actually, well, they should. I mean, the limit's 72.5, not 72.6.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I mean, and Adam Copeland was coming down from super middleweight down to middleweight for this fight. So, you know, I think, in my opinion, he should be made to make the weight. Didn't Franco do the same against Maloney? He weighed over, and then 2 hours later he made underneath.
If I remember, yes, correctly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I don't remember
like,
that.
Well, if you agree to a weight and you don't make it, well, then you've got to make it, or the fight gets canned. So that would be. And on the other thing, Liam Wilson didn't turn up. We didn't see Liam Wilson weigh in against Jackson Woods. Yeah, he made 60 kilos. It's a catchweight fight. At 60 kilos, he made that comfortably. But I didn't see Liam Wilson weigh in, so
yeah.
So I didn't see that happen. So yeah, I didn't see that happen. So I don't know what's going on there. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, well, you know, we'll find out in the next couple of hours. But you know, another person, he's the one that didn't show up. Yeah. And then the other ones you were talking about for they had they were saying that it was an issue with the scale, but it really wasn't. You know. But anyway, the Australian female bantamweight fight, both girls weighed in underweight, no issues there, so that'll be another great fight. But yeah, I just can't wait to get this done. So we've been going on about for months. All right, well, that's it for me.
Final prediction. I've been saying the whole time, Jeff and 6. What are you saying?
I'm thinking it's going to go to distance, but I'm going with Jeff Horn. I don't know. It's hard to say. You know, like a part of me like wants to think that Tim Tszyu is going to be able to box, but I don't see it. You know, I don't see him being able to move around, and from the tape I've seen, I don't see him being able to move around and actually put on a boxing performance that's going to make Jeff Horn look stupid, and when people can say Jeff Horn got exposed. You know, I don't see him being able to keep Jeff Horn off of him. I don't see him having a jab. I don't see him having the technique to keep Jeff Horn away. I see, you know, him trying to get into a close round, phone booth type of fight with Jeff Horn, and Jeff Horn's will is going to overpower him.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way I see it happening.
You know, but we're going to be here on Wednesday. For me, it's going to be the morning time, and for, you know, Jay, it's probably going to be around this time, right? The fight's going to be... No, wait. No, I'm tripping. Around 11 p.m. or so your time, 12 a.m., the fight should be over, right?
No. The main event will be in the ring by about 9:30. So that's...
all right.
That's about... Yeah, because the pay-per-view, the first fight starts at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Australian time, and the main event should be in the ring by 9:30. So that's what they're aiming for. Because traditionally they blow them out to like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, but I think they're pretty strict about getting these boys in the ring by 9:30 at night. So
all right, well,
that's about 7:30 in the morning your time.
All right, well, listen, we're gonna be here after the fight. You know, thank you to the guys who've been supporting us throughout this time we've been covering this fight. It's been, you know, a lot. So we're going to be doing something live. I'm going to do my original video, and then me and Jay are going to do something live after the fight as well. And then if there's a post-fight press conference, which usually that's a play-it-by-ear during the day type thing, during fight day, if they do it or do not. we will do that as well. On TstreeT Controversy, this is Big J with FightView360.com. Please subscribe.